everybody, Mandus Buckle here with Maximum Muscle Report on your favorite show, The King's Court. And this episode of The King's Court is brought to you by none other than yours truly. It's his show. It's The King's Court. George Brown making history for your division. The first ever IFBB Professional League Men's Physique Pro, George Brown, on the big stage in Las Vegas Saturday night. Guys, he just made history. He just led you guys into a whole new era, men's physique. Congratulations, George. What an honor it had to be. Please tell us what it was like, man.
Honestly, it was, people say all stages are different, and I kind of thought that until you look in that O and see the smoke, and then you walk through the smoke, and when you walk out, to a sold-out Orleans Arena, it was like no other experience that I had as far as competing. You hear about the big stage. I've been to the Olympia. This is my 5th year now. But to walk out there and, to a sold-out arena was definitely, an experience. And, I'm glad I was able to do
it. I have to say, in this day and age and in this particular time, I honestly don't think there was a better guy to have been the first person in your division to walk out. There's a lot of really good guys in your division right now. There is, and we know who we all know who they are, and there's a lot of up and coming guys, but you've kind of been here since the beginning. You've had some big wins. It's 5 consecutive Olympias. Almost everyone in the division either knows you and talks to you on the regular or in some facet or another. And you're a great representation of the IFBB Professional League. So, again, congratulations. And honestly, I think if you ask every IFBB Men's Physique Pro, said, hey, man, who would be the guy that you would want to represent your division to be the first guy to walk out there, I'm willing to bet that you would get most guys' votes. So, again, man, you just ushered your division into a whole new era. That's different. That's very different. I think with that comes a little bit of perspective and a little bit of expectation. I think you're going to get a lot more guys coming to you and asking you questions, George.
This year especially, I've been getting a lot more of that just because I think people can see the experience, and I'm a guy that I'll give you the information, because I didn't get here without learning, so the way I was taught was to, once you get the information, to kind of give back, and if you look at the ambassadors in the history of the IFBB, some of the top guys, I'm a blueprint guy, I always say it. That's what they do. They represent the league, they represent the NPC, they give back, and I'm just doing my job, so I'm glad I was able to do it once again. And, I look forward to hopefully doing it again next year, another year, another Olympia. And, let's talk about the Olympia now.
Let's talk about the Olympia. Wow. So you were there. So you didn't get to see much of what was going on. What we saw was something very unexpected across the board. You had a lot of new champions in a lot of divisions, and men's physique is another one. Congratulations to Raymont Edmonds, who is now there's been 2 guys who've been probably the most consistent guys over the last 2 years when you talk about all of their shows collectively. And that's last year's Mr. Olympia champ, Brandon Hendrickson, and this year's Mr. Olympia champ, Raymont Edmonds. And so maybe that's the new recipe, this up and down and competing to the level of the show, or I don't know, whatever it is. That that hasn't been who's won the last 2 years. It's been the two most consistent guys. So kudos to Ray. Chiron, congratulations. I mean, everybody knew and saw the potential. I think the knock on him was, is he actually going to come in shape? Because his genetics are just vastly superior. You could see he's a guy who's been training for a long time. He just had that soft muscle still. There was not a lot of maturity there, and he was never really conditioned. He came in all right. Well, he came in ready this year, and he brought an attitude to the stage like, I know I'm good, and I'm here to battle with all of you guys, and it showed. So to me, he was the biggest surprise, even though most people would say, that's not a surprise. He finished 6th last year. His 6th last year was nothing compared to his number 3 this year.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the lineup, I think it's interesting. You probably didn't have anyone in there that was a surprise except for Xavius. Congratulations to him for cracking a top 10. Otherwise, I don't think anyone else in the top 10 was a surprise. And I think a huge surprise was that Brandon went from winning last year to finishing 4th this year. So that lets you know that everyone at the top is so good. If you are not on your A game, you will not win.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you could ask for in any sport.
Yeah.
In any sport, you want parity. And this division has parity.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the head when you said, there's no gimme anything, when you step out there. You better bring it because everybody's bringing it. You mentioned Xavius. He's been around longer than me. He took a break. He had to go, do a service or whatever. He's a Marine. He retired, so he was able to focus.
Your service, Xavius.
Yeah. He was focused in. He came in sharp, and he got his placing. Just to run through the placements real quick. Number 1, we had Ray. 2, Andre. 3, Chiron. 4, Brandon. 5, Ryan Terry. 6 was Carlos. 7 was Ant Jukes. 8 was Xavier. I was at 9. And rounding off the top 10 was Andre. So it's a sharp field, and I'm glad I was able to be a part of it. Like I said, it was some minor things that separated the bunch, but I'm glad, and I had fun. Like I said, it was a sold out arena. Let's talk about the new promotion, the new promoters.
Wow,
man, they were tailor made. We had Shaq in the building. We had some big names in there, and I kind of talked to Tariq, and he said that they were that's what they want to do. They want to bring more awareness to it, and they want to make us like the other professional leagues. No different. I think they did a fantastic job. Like I said, it was sold out. That lets you know right there. I think it was very well ran, and I'm excited to see what next year brings.
There was a lot of cool new bells and whistles, the smoke, the confetti at the end. That's all part of being at an event. You said Shaq was there, Ocho Cinco was there, Chad Johnson.
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, you had people in the house. It made it exciting. Every division being out there. So you had Dan Solomon, who a lot of you new guys don't know who Dan Solomon is. Dan Solomon's been part of this thing for like 30 plus years, guys. And he's a journalist who happens to have decided to choose the bodybuilding industry, amongst others, to do his business. Very sharp guy. He's a good people person. He knows what it's like to put together the right people to do the right jobs. And there was the production, and say Tamer Al Gundy was the producer of the show, the right guy for the right job. You've seen Tamer's work, international now.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I just like polish. Like me and you, we've all talking about polish. And when you see them and they got their mics on, they were dead serious. And I think that's why the show turned out to be so good. Like you said, the stage, the production, the smoke. I'm telling you, when you walk through that smoke, it's different, And it's like I looked up, but I'm trying to play cool or whatever. At the same time, I'm like, what is going on? So you can't really show that because you're performing or whatever. But even down to the meet and greets, things were just a little different this year. It was definitely one of the funnest times that I had at any of the Olympias that I've been at, So let's move a little forward. What can we expect next year?
Well, knowing those two gentlemen and knowing Jim Mannion, they're going to, of course, want next year to be even better than this year. So they've already started preparation for next year, believe it or not. It's just mind-blowing, but they want to make it bigger. They want to make it better. I believe you're going to see in 2020 an even larger international flavor. And when I say that, I mean athletes. So when you have that many more international athletes that will be competing, you'll have that much more international media, that many more international groups of people, because they're going to have followers and fans are going to come to see them as well. So we're going to continue to grow worldwide, which on the flip side is going to enable some of the American athletes to broaden their horizons and to be able to go and promote and market themselves in other places as well now, because they're not all going to only want to follow their one champion from their country. They're going to support that athlete, but they've now been introduced into your sport and into your particular division, whatever division it may be. It's going to give you guys more opportunities as well.
Well, each year has been different, but each year has been better. We got the new point system or the new way you get into the Olympia. We got preparation for another Olympia, like you just talked about. So it's kind of hard, even if you look at the top 10. Let's just go with that because they place top 10. What to look for next year? Will Ray repeat? Where will Andre fall? He's been second. He's won the Arnold 2 years in a row now. He plans to come back. We got Carlos, who's a new guy. He came on the scene. He looked great, even from, when we seen him before the show. His stage presence was there. We got the young guys. We still got some old guys in the mix, So I don't know. We'll just see. This is the beauty of bodybuilding. One show means nothing against the next show. It's all about how you prep, and it's all about how you come in on that day. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what's going on as far as where guys take it. Like, what do you do with your placings now? Because I like to touch on that. A lot of people, they get the placings, and to me, they feel accomplished, and then it's like, well, you do nothing with it. So
that's for another show.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm just saying, it's just like there's different levels of success. If that's what you came for and you got your placing, then that's fine. But to me, it's like, what are you going to do with it? So like you said,
I can't wait to hit that topic next week.
Yeah, we'll hit that next week.
Good one.
Yeah, definitely.
What you're doing, you're reeling them in for next week already. I'm on to you, George. Well, obviously, no better. There'd be nobody else that we could have on, besides you being really the first guest of your own show, making history and being the first Men's Physique Pro to walk out on the stage. But I believe you have the only guest we could have, and that is
the new
Men's Physique, Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, man. Yeah, right, man. Like I said, I seen him come in. This is just me just talking about him before we bring him on. This dude is very genuine, man. He's been a genuine friend of mine. I used to take the bus to Pittsburgh. Ray would pick me up. He always tell me, I was his favorite guy because I was taller, and that kind of gave him the confidence because he was tall. Because back then, nobody was tall, Right. So I told him a couple things, man, and he ran with it, But he's always giving me my, my just due, like, hey, man, you're my favorite, XYZ. So I'm really happy for him, And I'll let him say the rest so you can kind of, we can get into a story or whatever. But I'm really happy for him. Definitely going to have him up next. So let's take this commercial break. And we're going to be back with the new Mr. Olympia men's physique, Raymont Edmonds. Guys, stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, today is a special day. On the King's Court, we have none other than the new Mr. Olympia, Ray Edmonds. Ray,
say it again.
And new
Ray Edmonds. First, I heard it from JM, from NPC News Online. Him and JM did an interview. First champion from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. First one from the bird.
We got a lot of firsts.
That's wild.
The new Mr. Olympia, Ray Edmonds. Ray.
What up? We back, baby. Here in the bird. We got history going on, cuz. It's wild when you think about that, like that one right there, because, the NPC, IFBB Bodybuilding here in Pittsburgh. And, Mr. Pittsburgh, you always meet guys that be like, yeah, I won that Mr. Pittsburgh back in the day, like older dudes and stuff. So, like, to think of, I don't even know too many, like, pros that's been on, like, the pro circuit in history, just over time that's been doing it. I guess at the level that I'm at, I mean, Mr. Olympia is just wow, so like, but being here in the Berg, how we are. We take pride in our championships, our winning traditions. So I'm just happy to fall into the same category finally.
It is interesting considering that's the home of bodybuilding since the 80s. The family that runs our sport resides there.
Yep.
And when you think of Pittsburgh, man, you think of hard-nosed, tough city, blue-collar, Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh Pirates, the Penguins.
And we diehard fans, too, so
All right, so Ray, let's just start kind of, take us down memory lane. How'd you get in, and just kind of give us a timeline to where we are right now.
Man, so born and raised in Pittsburgh. Bodybuilding, man, I may have seen it on TV back in the day, like maybe like even I might have been more familiar with like strongman competitions. Like those things used to always be. I used to always catch them on after school, at ESPN. But like bodybuilding was never in my vision. Little knowledge on it. So growing up, in the Berg, played sports and this and that, did the usual. But I was never into fitness, never into lifting weights or anything. So people think I've been big my entire life. I graduated from high school this height at 140 pounds.
Wow.
Like no bullshit.
What are your stats real quick?
Huh?
How tall are you right now?
6'2", same as I was in high school.
What did you weigh the day of the show?
Yo, I never weighed myself on any show day. We never. I don't know. It's just a thing. I'm trying to think. The closest I've ever weighed myself may have been a day before a show. Was maybe was it Pittsburgh G? Pittsburgh Pro, the recent one. I think so. I think the lowest I ever got down, I was like 215.
Oh yeah. You was around there. I remember that.
About 215.
Yeah.
So depending on how your carb up is, the clean, I mean, how you hold on the water and stuff, you shouldn't put on too much weight when you're filling out. So I don't know. Who knows what I weighed the day of the show, but it was good.
So every champion has a backstory, that's it. Every successful person, you got Tyler Perry and people, they was living in cars and whatever. What's your backstory?
Man, but like I said, I wasn't into fitness. I went to college. I had the opportunity. I played some hoops and stuff, but I made some bad choices and I got arrested my senior year in Penn State. I got a 4 to 8 year prison sentence. First conviction, Shit. that's where I fell in love with training. You know what I mean? Like I never thought of, like, I used to play around weights, but never consistently like I did inside. And that made the days go by. You know, it was just, it just helped me, you know, escape where I was physically and mentally, you know what I mean? To just kept my mind strong and sharp. So when I came home, you know, I got out in 3 years, early time. And I'm in the gym training, still, you know, continuing it because, you know, you're in your daily routine. You come home, and it's kind of bodybuilding and being inside has some similarities with the discipline. I mean, kind of like how you fall on what you eat, you know, the limited options and such.
Oh, sure.
The training 3 times a day. Like, literally, I tell people, like, it's crazy as it sounds, but it kind of has the similar structure as opposed to, like, that, how it's set up with the training and limited eating. But I'm just in the gym training. And some dude was like, yo, you compete. And I'm competing. I didn't even know what he meant. Like I said, didn't know too much about bodybuilding. And he was like, bodybuilding. And I'm like, nah, hell no. I'm thinking like being on stage, like, you know, and you know, in little dips, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, nah, I might have been, and like I said, I was 140 in high school. I might have been like 185, 190, tipping those scales. Once I started like training inside and coming home and eating and such, but I still didn't know anything about, you know, training and nutrition. And once I, you know, learned, once he brought up the bodybuilding thing, you know, I looked into it. He mentioned men's physique, and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, all right, this is completely different than what I thought he was talking about. So I was like, yo, what's the first thing you do? I did research on it, and everyone was like, hire a coach. And I'm like, I didn't even know where to start with that. You know, like where social media is now and what we have access to now, it wasn't much like that back in like 2000 and even 2014, 15 when I got started, you know. Found a local dude, got involved, did my first show, won. After that, you know, I started learning more and more about even the national level, seeing how to turn pro. I seen my first pro show, George.
Hey, hold on. Tell us about that show you won when they told you to do your favorite shot and you cut the rest out.
Yo, but that's how far you got out of it, though, cuz. Look, so I did this. So I did a first show in October. It was the Pennsylvania Natural. I won the overall. Second show, I didn't even know about schedules, right? So I didn't know about local shows. They're like, yo, there's a show coming up in West Virginia this weekend, and I'm still in shape. Like getting in shape is easy for me. And the week of the show, I decided to do the show 3 days before the show. I go win my what is it, the class? Yeah, I go win my class, and they tell me it's your favorite pose.
Immediately to the back.
I had a back pose.
The dude had to say, turn around.
Yo. And the fact that you win your class, you're the champ, and you're in your class, and you're the idiot that hits a back pose.
All right, so you go to your first pro show.
So I go to my first pro show. Now I'm like, yo, I can't wait to see this stuff. And I knew about G. Was Michael Anderson. Man, this show was loaded, yo. Logan Franklin might have been in there. There was so many pros. And I'm like, I'm watching this stuff and I'm like, yo, like, all right, I'm really seeing like these dudes is moving. They're moving fluently. First and foremost, the first thing I took away from this, like they're posing. You know, like I tell people, it took me so long to get to where I am with posing. And that's the first thing I took away from them. I'm like, man, they're all moving, just smooth, fluent. Like they know what they're doing. I see G, and that's when I fell in love with this dude's physique, and him and Ryan Terry went at it, and that was mind blowing to me. You know what I mean? Like just not even knowing how to even go from a local show to national levels to even pro. I'm watching these dudes, so then I'm hooked after that. I didn't even win my show. I didn't win my class that one. I came in third place in my class that show. Mm. And but it was like, yo, it was an eye opener. That's when I realized, like, okay, it was like I said, I was around pros, dudes who were next to being pros and Olympians and stuff. So that right there, that got me really hooked. So from there, we went and did North Americans. I came in fifth in my class, and again, I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. You know, I'm like, I'm almost there. I was gonna chill, maybe take some time off. You know how it is when you don't get the results you want to show. You think you need to take time off and just make some dramatic changes. That's just it's like I feel like that's a common thing that we get as competitors. I remember we mentioned after Olympia a couple years ago, man. So I was like, it's not about making the big changes, just like the minor tweaks that might help you. So I wasn't gonna do that show. I was gonna call it quits after North Americans in what was that, September, and I went to the Olympia for the first time. And everybody I talked to, just to work the booth and I worked with Isolator Fitness, and I hung out. I talked to him, and everybody was like, "Yo, you got to do the next show." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna do the next show." Made little tweaks from September to November, and I won the overall out of Miami. That's crazy right there. So you go from on the outside, barely even getting in first call outs to like turning pro and winning overall. So yeah, that's how it all began right there. That started it all right there.
So how many years of weight training and training would you say it's been then? 6, 7?
I'd say consistently 2009 when I first started.
Okay, so 10 years. 10
yeah,
years.
Yeah.
You're a big dude with a big frame.
But I'm gonna tell you, but when I didn't know, like I didn't know anything about nutrition and stuff though, like
right.
Eating. So I wasn't really making gains until about 2000 and maybe like 14 when I really got into bodybuilding.
Right. But they say most of the time though, for someone to be good, the beginning is just the basics of working out.
Yeah.
Getting into the gym, being comfortable, learning different movements, body parts.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to take a couple years. So you're a big guy with a big frame, and you've been able to get to a point to fill it out. It didn't happen overnight. This isn't a 2, 3, 4 year journey, man.
It takes.
And you've changed things now because you bring a big stature. You take up and you command a lot of space on the stage, and that's imposing. And what I've noticed is, George and I touched on this in the first segment, you have now taken over as the most consistent IFBB Pro League men's physique competitors in the last, I'd say, 2.5 years. We've been talking about this in the past, and it was Brandon. And the two of you, if you look at the last 2.5 years, just about every single show that the two of you do, you're pretty close to being really good. Nobody's 100% all the time. There's no such thing. You can talk to Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, anybody. There's no such thing. And you only ever hit one that was your best look. So let's take that out of the equation. Nobody knows what their best look is until years later.
Very
go
true.
back and study it.
Yeah.
But it's about everything else in between during a period of time. How consistently on point is somebody? And here we're talking about the two most consistent guys the last 2.5 years. Brandon Henderson, last year's champ, and he slipped up this year. And who caught him? You, the second most consistent guy in the last 2.5 years. There's no secret to that.
No.
There's no on-off switch. There's no on-off switch. You don't come into any show kind of okay.
Hell no. Yo, I'll back out of it. I won't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I just won't do it. Listen, if it wasn't like, even with Olympia, when I had little issues, I would have backed out of it before I would have threw too much even pressure on myself, let alone to show up anything that I'm known for. You know what I mean? Like when I'm off, it's never my conditioning. It's like, and it's not even off. It's just like, yo, you may be a little bit too much full, maybe not full enough. You know what I'm saying?
But see, being consistent isn't even just conditioning. Because last year's champ was shredded. He didn't fill out enough. He was just, period, when it was time to hit the stage, he was off. He was off at that point in time. You have been consistently on when it's time for you to go on, show after show after show after show after show after show after show. Consistency.
100%.
And now you are the champ. Like, hey, interesting.
I mean, no, I mean, what you're speaking on, I mean, in reference, in regards to me, that's the numbers, it speaks for itself.
You got the
I mean, I can't dispute.
You got this.
That's something I would say about myself. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
Yeah.
something I would say about myself. It's like, yo, hell yeah. I mean, and it's not a lie. You know what I mean? It's not me making up some shit like, yo, I would have won this one. It's like, no, I won this one. I won this. I came in, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I had
it's
the background. So
that point is validated because last year, the guy who was the champ for the last 2 years or so was the most consistent over that period of time. And now the guy to battle was you, and you beat it. Like, there you go. Now we're starting to see there's a handful of you guys that are so good.
oh, hell yeah.
That are so good. If one guy's a little bit off, it's not his day.
Dude,
You don't seem to have a bad day, Ray. You don't seem to have a bad day.
I got a two-part question. What did the second place finish for you do last year? Like, how did that affect you? And then talk a little bit about, your relationship with Omar and how you guys made adjustments from last year to this year.
Man, last year, I mean, fuck, it was so close, and that probably hangs on a little bit more than when it's not as close. Like if I'm in the third spot or fourth spot, it's like, all right, but you go back and you look at it, and it's like, damn, it's so close. It wasn't really much, except for like improving in the back areas, because that's where it comes. For all of us, I mean, we're all pretty much lights out in front, unless somebody just doesn't care or some shit happens. But in the back, we just continue to, switch up the training, just keep adding more detail and more depth. I got wider also. This year though, man, it was like this year was like a straight blessing on timing, man. So many things happened that I feel slowed me down from peaking too soon. In the past, I've always been like, it's not that difficult for me to get in shape. So I feel like there's been time in the past where I may have peaked, shit, maybe 3 weeks before the show, and then I'm a tall dude, so packing on muscles hard. So when we're tearing into it, a lot of it goes, and then I'm trying to fill it back up, and then that's where you come in to that collision course with your fullness and your conditioning. Gee, like you always tell me, like, yo, right there, keep that waist right there. Yeah. Always say. But like I said, I feel like a lot of things happen, unfortunate things happen that slow things down, bro. It like blessing in disguise. That's the only thing I could really say that was a difference, because big show, small show is pretty much the same for me. It's how hard I give it my prep is what's going to change little things. You know what I mean? Like, so I think like that this year it was just the timing on things, man. Crazy. Like, when it's your time, and things just fell into place, like I said, to just help me with certain things.
So what's new? Like, what do you have? What do you think is going on next? Like, what can we expect to see from, Mr. Olympia moving forward?
We got a lot of appearances. We're gonna be traveling a lot. We got a lot of stuff we're gonna try to do here in local, up here in Pittsburgh too. This is my city, man. We all win this. Every time I go somewhere, they're like, yo, I feel like I won that shit. Yeah. So I want to do some stuff around here, especially, man, with the, I grew up in the hood, man. So the inner youth, I want to show them, like, there's other ways of doing things. It's not certain ways. There's so many different ways. And it's about, like, just having that mindset that's just not stuck into a bucket, man, just confined and thinking it's just certain things you got to do. And, man, I'm going to take a lot of time just to enjoy this all. Things like the holidays, I'm usually prepping for the Arnold. I'm not going to do the Arnold. I told people the craving for Arnold title has deceased. Momentarily, that's it.
Of course.
Momentarily. I'm not going to say forever, but momentarily. I'm going to let y'all know right now. I ain't going to be here in Ohio.
Smart man.
Yeah, I told somebody, like, you ain't gonna do the Arnold? I said, absolutely not. I got nothing left for the Arnold right now.
Right.
So, like I said, I think, you know, how we usually prep during the holidays and in the cold and all that. So this is even different. And, you know, just enjoying that stuff. And we will be doing the Pittsburgh Pro. I'll let y'all know that. We will be doing the Pittsburgh Pro. Put that out there. Let everybody know. So Mr. O will be doing the Pittsburgh Pro for the hometown.
Heard it here first. Sport.
I think that's going to be a shocker. I think that's going to be a shocker.
We will be here in the city, baby. Listen, I'm gonna be here. So, you know, and Leo, you know, y'all know, man. Me, George, Dre, Brandon, Kyron, the guys at the top. We've competed over the years, man. And I don't know, man. Just to take a whole year off, you know, I'm like we was talking before, man. It's when you chilling and you don't know what to do. You know, there's only but so much I'm gonna do too.
Right.
Because, you know, there's only but so much I'm gonna do before I circle the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself and I'm like, all right. So I figure May is right in the middle, right before the summertime. You know, and we're gonna get it on whoever comes and try to, you know, hold it down again. So that's it.
Smart move, man. If you don't use it, you lose it.
You feel me?
The business of bodybuilding.
Hey, man, I hope you guys are taking notes, man. You know, he said a lot of things right there. You know, it's a journey, number one. You know, dealing with adversity, how to handle adversity, understanding that everything happened for a reason. You know, so there's a lot of information, you know, that you just talked about that, you know, you guys need to take in. You know, at the end of the day, you got to put in work, and the road is not going to be how you think it is. And whatever's for you is going to be for you. So whatever that is, you got to take it and roll with it, you know.
And that purpose, man. Man, I tell people, you got to be wanting to do it because you want to do it too. You can't do it because Ray's doing it and he's making it look good and I can't wait to battle with him. You might not battle me ever, bro. I told somebody that. It was like, I can't wait. You know, I just can't wait to. I'm like, yo, reality, you got to think about this. We may not ever step on stage with me. So, like, yeah, think about it like that. So, there's just, you got to be real with this thing, man.
Yeah. Well, Ray, always a pleasure. I think we waited a little too long to get you on, but I know you were doing some traveling. George had some traveling going on, but we're glad we had you on. Can't wait to see all the things that you do this upcoming year. At the end of the day, this is sports, it's competition, and most people who are fans of a sport, they love to see good competition. They love to see their best team win. And when the best team is represented by somebody that they like to be behind, that they can root for and cheer for, it's always better for the sport. It's better for us fans. It's better for the people going out there following that sport. So congratulations, Ray. Best of luck. And another title is in great hands with you. So
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, man, appreciate having you on, Ray. You already know. Like I said, you guys, you know, take what you can from this episode because it's a lot of valuable information. It will help you out. It is a mindset. Continue to motivate, continue to inspire, continue to watch the King's Court.
Right here, baby. Max Muscle King's Court.